Hey everybody, Robin Thompson with The Powerful Practice, and I am here with Becky Gardner, and we are celebrating the launch of her coaching program, which is for empowered Christian mothers. And we're celebrating your first revenue event, which is $13,500 in your first week in booked revenue. And I think you've collected just under 12,000 of that already, which is awesome. And you did it by doing something that I tell everybody to do, but a lot of people resist it, which is going out to your network and actually using the people you already knew that you already knew would need, and wouldn't be doing it in a way that creates a dual relationship. Anyway, congratulations, Becky, on
Thank
getting the
you.
program launched. Why don't you
Thank
tell us a little bit about what the program is about and how, the idea behind it and what you're doing and how you're helping people?
Yeah. So I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner. So I work in a practice in a small rural town in Utah and just kept seeing a pattern of working with a lot of kids and teenagers and saw that most of the time I'm working with moms that are bringing them in. As far as when I have to correspond with a parent, it's usually with the mom. And most of the progress that I see is when moms are involved more in the process. So when I first initially came to Powerful Practice, I anticipated that I'd be working with young adults and teenagers, and then got steered in a direction that, well, that means you'll have to work with parents, which actually kind of freaked me out a little bit. But then when I connected the dots that most of the parents that I work with are women, I it just made sense to do a faith-based program to work with women first and get them their emotional and mental foundations firm so that they can parent from a better place themselves. Because I have a couple difficult kids. I'm as sure most of us parents do. And I found in my personal experience and then watching it work in some of the families that I worked with in my private practice, that when I focused on the relationship foundations, that all the other behavioral stuff became a whole lot easier to handle and kind of fixed itself rather than focusing on parenting strategies, focused on the relationship. So that's where it started, and that's how I got here.
You did bring up, you kind of glazed over it, but you brought up one of the big blocks that we worked through at the beginning, which was you really, really wanted to work directly with teenagers at the beginning, right? And we
Yes.
had to bring you to that. And I'll explain why. The reason for that is because if you want to sell a program to teenagers, teenagers need their parents to pay for it. And so you'd have this dynamic all the time of you'd either get a teenager who'd want to do it, and then the parent would be the obstacle, or you get the parent who want their teenager to do it, and the teenager becomes the obstacle, which just is a very tough nut to crack. But by bringing you in and actually focusing on the moms, then that makes it easier to sell. There's just one person to say yes. It
Yeah.
makes such a huge difference, right? So I
And
remember that
yeah.
journey. What other big obstacles did you have to work through in order to get this program launched successfully, would you say?
Myself,
Okay.
I struggled for about 2 months
Mm-hmm.
trusting my ability to coach, to be a parent coach, because I've had struggles with my own kids. But then honestly, working in my private practice, and I had some affirming experiences of moms coming to me literally within a month's period of time, being like, some of the core concepts I use in my program, I had been using with them. And actually, they came to me for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And one mom in particular came back and was like, and we worked on, one of her chief complaints was, I just lose my patience with my girls and my relationship is terrible and it's causing me a lot of anxiety. And so I took some of the concepts that I had in my beta plan and used them with her. And she came back a month later and was like, my relationship will never be the same. Like it's totally different. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. This is going to work. It's going to be okay. And that was, a nudge enough to just go out on a limb and really go for it. And yeah, and I was hesitant to reach out to people that I knew, moms that I knew. I don't know if that's where you want to go next.
Well, yeah, because a lot of mental health professionals, they resist telling their network that they're launching a coaching program.
Mm-hmm.
And what they want to do is they want to go straight into advertising, which works. But I mean, for you, you multiplied your investment in this program very quickly just by letting the people around you know that this was happening and this existed. And I think that's something that a lot of people, it's a missed opportunity for so many people when they're launching a coaching program, is just understanding that, your first people to join, so long as you're not creating a dual relationship, the first people to join are usually in your phone book, actually.
Yeah. And the biggest barrier I felt in sharing what I was doing was actually with coworkers. And because there had been in a staff meeting, there had been a conversation about coaching and how these coaches are doing things that they have no business doing. And so there's this stigma already with therapists and coaches.
Right.
So for me, so that was the first barrier. And once I broke that barrier with my coworkers and just said, yeah, I'm actually starting a coaching business and this is why, and this is my intention. It's because I want to reach more moms. It's because I want it faith-based. And it's because, I want to be able to reach more people and create a community for Christian moms to be able to gather and have a support group and actually receive support like with colleagues once I explained it. And I think that gave me even more confidence to go, because I live in a small town, right? So me reaching out to people in my small community and I actually got referrals. So my initial list, I probably half signed probably. And I called it my divine right clients. Any names that came to mind, I just started listing them and I didn't think too hard about it. I actually didn't. Yeah, I just started listing and then I just started sending out texts initially. And you helped me with that, like an initial intro text that was kind of like, would you like to know more? And set up a 15-minute call. Sometimes it ended up being 30 minutes and ended with like a verbal commitment. And then I sent them my Venmo link because I didn't have anything set up in Kajabi for payments.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then that's how I took payment initially. And the people that committed, then I've had some clients sign up from them referring and saying, hey, I actually thought of someone else.
Yep.
And I reached out to them and they want to know more. And so then I called them. And this week I have a goal that I haven't done any sales call this week because I've been really focusing on content and getting this going. And I felt okay about that. But now I definitely feel an urgency. Like I want to make another list and start the process all over again.
Very good. Yeah. I mean, networking is a good way to get your coaching business off the ground. And then that gives you the funds. And you want to take a little bit of these funds. And if you want to start doing advertising and things like that, then you have the funds. You're not going into your own pocket for it. You're going into what your business has already created for you, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is a little scary. I'm not going to lie, because I initially felt that pressure because these are women I know, and then it's in my community. So whether or not they like the program, that's going to go out into the community. But then I just had to let it go and realize that. And so far the feedback's been awesome and they're loving it. So I just have to we become our own worst enemies. And so I've had to just try to remember that. I would like to explore Facebook because I think even just doing a Facebook post might even be another little boost within my small community, a way of getting the word out there.
Sure. Give it a shot. Awesome. Well, I'm very happy for your success. And I know that, what you're doing, there's so many Christian moms out there who are struggling, especially with the differences in the generations and the beliefs and what is happening right now in the world. And they're struggling to parent through it. And you're going to be an invaluable resource there. So I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without you, or if I did, it would have been much slower.
Yeah, that's the whole
You
thing
definitely
about getting
pushed me.
help, you know. You would have been able to figure this out eventually. It just would have taken time and trial and error, and maybe the first few people that you went out to, you know, it would have been a bit messy, right? But that's the whole thing with hiring the right help, you know. It's I could put the time in to figure this out and take a year or maybe sometimes longer. People sometimes take longer. Or I can hire somebody who can help me to do it faster. That's the same decision that everybody makes. So, very good. Well, I'm happy for you, and thanks for taking the time just to chat and give other people a little bit of inspiration because they need it. And looking forward to seeing what comes next for you.
Thank you. My pleasure. It's been great.